I was in the bedroom.
So everybody got a joint rolled and a cold beer, or however you're relaxing. Bong rips, yep.
So now I'm on the big comfy couch. I'm good.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
I got my puppy. I'm happy.
Oh, there you go. I had to. Mine went to the vet today. I guess he tore something in his knee. I've got a big Great Pyrenees dog. He's been limping around, but we got him some pain pills. He's passed out now, so he's doing all right. Get him doped up. I've been giving him CBD, and it seemed to have been helping a little bit. All right, guys. I don't have anybody else getting on. First and foremost, let me see if I can just do this, and I can unmic all. If you would, look down, just view. Usually I can turn everybody's mics off. But if you guys can go real quick and turn your microphones off, I can do it. That'll be a lot easier. I'll open up everything for comment there at the end. And then you guys all have my contact information, man. I'm always open. So if you guys ever have any issues going through this, let me know. This year, I'm trying to think any changes. So this year we're going to be going with the new judging software. It's called Judgify. We had used WardForce for all these years, but they're so expensive, and everybody's kind of caught up now, and so there's some less expensive options, especially since this is the only one I do every year. There's Raven. Hi, Raven. So we've got a new, like I said, we've got a new. I'm gonna mute. Yeah, thanks, Raven. And so I haven't really got to mess with it yet, so I don't have a whole bunch of information. I do know that it's going to be super easy to use. It'll be an online login. You'll be able to use your phones. You'll be able to use computers as well. Should be nice and easy. For those who haven't seen it before, hold on a second. For those who haven't done anything like this before, it's a real simple setup. You'll have a login. You'll go in. It'll list all of them, all of your entries by entry number, and I'll get a little bit more into that. And then you'll click on that entry, and it'll have the different rubrics. So appearance, flavor, aroma, flush, cure, experience, packaging, depending on what judge panel you're on. And it'll have a notes section. I'll talk a little more about notes later, but it's got a notes section on it as well. You won't be able to choose something that's out of range. The way it was last year, we did 1 to 10 scale with 0.1, so you could do 1.1, 1.2, 7.7, or whatever, all the way up. And so it'll be nice and easy. I believe you'll be able, I don't see any reason there wouldn't be. Like I said, I haven't used this software yet, so I'm a little in the dark, but you should be able to go back and readjust them as you go. And I would fully expect people to do that, especially somebody in a category like flower or rosin, one of these bigger categories, to kind of adjust it as you go. What I will say in general about judging and score making. I don't really care what your baseline is. If your baseline's a 5 and you're just kind of assuming, hey, if it's in this competition, it's above a 5, take that as a baseline. Go up for stuff that's outstanding, go down for stuff that you feel is lacking in whatever category. But what I don't want you to do is to go through and say, all of these are 0s and 1s and 2s. And then you find the one you like the most and you rate it a 10 across the board. That's what's going to fuck up this average, right? So I don't want to tell you, hey, everything starts at a 7 or everything starts at a 5. You could start at a 0 for all I give a shit. But if you got a 0 and you're going all the way to a 10, it tends to affect, since we only have 10 or 12 judges per panel, it tends to swing things. And so when I go back and I start checking for winners, that's one of the few things I will, like, I'm telling you right now, whatever ones you pick, you guys, that's the one that's going to win. I don't care who a sponsor is, never have. JKJ Processing was the grand champion last year. Dude's never even had a booth. Love John Kumbas to death. Going to make him buy a booth this year. But he didn't even have a booth last year. So it really does come down to you. But I will say this, I will go back and we'll check, I'm going to run the top 10 and I'm going to go read what everybody wrote. And I'm going to make sure that there wasn't any funny business, that somebody came in and, secretly works for a company that I don't know about. And they picked this strain out and they rated a 10 and all of them a 0. I'm just going to go in and wipe all your scores. And so we'll just pull you out of the panel. And it'll go that way. So I am checking for that. Just for those that, I don't see it very often. I have seen it, but I don't see it very often. But my point to be made is, whatever that baseline is, let's try to stay around that, right? And so we can all kind of assume, I think anything in here is probably at least mids or a 5. So if it looks really bad, go less than that. But just try to be diligent in what you're doing, and what you're picking, and even that, that goes back to making good notes as you get 20, 30, 40 strains into this thing. You're gonna know a whole lot more about what's there than you do. You kind of do there in the beginning. I don't have a problem with you guys going through there and at the very beginning, hey, run through them all, dude. Pop them open, smell them. Hey, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And if you want to kind of start, putting them out there like the way you like them and stuff like that, feel free to do that. That'll kind of give you an overall of what's in the judge pack. That way, it'll kind of center your judging a little bit, just to kind of see what the worst one is and what the best one is, right? And so feel free to do that. I do ask that you guys don't grab that thing from the dispensary and then take off down the road, and the first thing you do is grab one up and smoke it. Now, you got somebody driving for you. Well, don't smoke weed in the car. Don't smoke weed in the car. Let's just stick it with don't smoke weed in the car. Make sure you're taking this serious. Don't use this flower for your daily smoke, dude. By all means, go grab an ounce of your favorite weed that you smoke all the time and kind of use that through the day. And really, when you sit down with this judge pack, I really want you to do it. And this is kind of getting started in flower, but I want you to do it at the same time of day. And what that does is we all smoke weed all day long. Most of us smoke weed all day long. And so we all know that your tolerance builds up throughout the day. You get the most stoned in the morning. Some of us can smoke in the morning, some of us can't. The ones with sativa and hybrids, if you can smoke, even indica, if you can smoke it in the morning, first one you smoke all day, and you have time to do that and sit down, and maybe you do it with a cup of coffee or whatever. I encourage that. If not, if you do it in the evenings, that's fine too. But let's just make sure we're smoking them at the same time, because it's really going to be the only way that you can truly rate an experience of a flower, the medicinal experience of a flower or a concentrate. And a lot of this stuff you guys already know. I'm preaching to the choir. I'm gonna talk today like you've never smoked weed before, for some of this. But I think mainly that the using clean one for the people that are smoking concentrates or flower, using something clean. I really like to smoke all of my competition samples in joints. I roll elements. I try to get a good paper that doesn't add a lot of flavor, a lot of burnt flavor to it. And I find elements to be the best. I actually use these they're single, I'm using the wrong camera, but they're single wides. And so they're a little bit smaller. They're not quite as big as, they're like the old cut corners or something. So, but anyway, I really like those. Let's if you want to judge by smoking joints, let's do it all by joint. If you want to do it by pipe, feel free. You want to do it by bong, feel free. But let's make sure they're clean, and let's make sure that we do all our sampling with that smoking device. No blunts, please. You use blunts or hemp wraps or any of that shit. Tell me, I won't let you judge again. And just don't use that shit. It completely ruins the whole idea of the whole thing. So I think we all understand that. So I'm going to, let me make sure. Oh, I got Scotty Biffle here. Hey, Scotty, I just caught you there, buddy. I'm sorry, man. Scotty's been here before, so he's heard that whole spiel. So I'm gonna start with flower and kind of work my way through. I know we've got everybody here: edibles judges, cart judges, pre-roll judges. As we get through through your part of the notes. You guys feel free to drop off. This year, I'm not doing. Everybody did such a good job last year in showing up. I just trust that everybody's wants to be here and wants to learn. So, but if we get through your deal, feel free to jump off. I would encourage you to stick around just to see how we do it. It's not going to take that long. I think maybe 30, 45 minutes from now. So, again, for everybody who's new, go out there and sign 837. Go sign 837. It does a lot for our industry. It's going to bring the price of weed down, not up. If you guys want to have that argument, we can do it later at a different time. So, all of you guys, the most important thing to me, so in this competition, we like to give notes. And I give all of your notes, and I don't care what you say, good, bad, ugly, they go to the contestants after for them to use. They want to go back and see what you guys liked, what you didn't like. So when you're making notes, I think that's great. I think you write down, hey, this smells like this. I really like this. I didn't like that. But just understand when you're doing it, it's not really to show how smart you are or how many flavors you can pull out of this thing or how great you can recognize a flavor. It's more about knowing that you write the notes for the contestants. And so, hey, I think, this looked machine trim. The trim looked fantastic. Best trim of the group, really smelled fresh, really smelled, this. And just know you're doing it, not so much for me, but you're doing it really for the contestants. So I do look at that every year. When I went back this year, and just to let you guys know, if you didn't understand how I did selection this year, we had probably 500 judges apply. I pulled that whole list up. I put everybody in order by your first selection and tried to put you in that first selection. I believe most of you are in that. There may be a few that aren't. Then I went back and I looked at, I know whether you've judged or not because I know everybody's name, but if you've judged before, I went back and looked at your notes last year, made sure you guys were leaving good notes, made sure your scores were kind of in line. And if everything looked good to me, you passed. If you hadn't judged before, I went to the end and I kind of read your application and made sure nothing looked funny to me. And if it didn't look funny, we really do want new people here. It's good for the industry. Everybody doesn't have to be an expert because a lot of you people are the people that are buying this cannabis from these companies. And so I think your opinion is super valuable. Whether you just started smoking 2 years ago or whether you've been doing this your whole life and you've taken all these different classes. So that's kind of how I did it. It really was random number generator. If you're my friends and are on here, Darcy got super lucky. The deal is the flower and the solventless hash are massive. A lot of people apply to judge those. So if those were your first two choices, the field was a whole lot bigger than if you chose high dose edibles or topicals, right? If you chose high dose edibles, chances are you probably got the job, at least 1 and 2. So just know that going forward. Don't get mad at me because you didn't get chose for solventless hash when there was 150 people that did it and there was only 10 spots available. So we did it as fair as we can. So it is what it is. We'll get into it. So flower and rubric. So for flower, it's a blind category. So you guys aren't going to know what company entered it. All that stuff goes into the processor at Best Dispensaries. So all the jars are going to say Best Dispensaries on them. We do that on purpose. So you'll have that jar. It'll have a sticker on it. Like I said, it'll say, if you're indica, it'll say IND001. You'll be able to go back to your judging software, IND001. So when you got them on there, really all of you guys, so I don't have to say this again, be careful with the stickers. I don't go opening up all the cart boxes and put individual little stickers on all the carts. Since it's a branded category, we're going to put it on the outside. So just make sure that as you're testing them, you're kind of keeping these things together. The beauty of the carts is if you guys do have a problem and you have lost a sticker, even with flour, sometimes, a lot of times I can go back and find it. We don't really have a big problem with flour because the stickers stick to the jars real good. But just saying, if you do lose one and you don't know what, and you can't figure out what that cart may be, give me a call and we can kind of figure it out. Even, pre-rolls too sometimes. Pre-rolls are the ones that really get bad. Some of the pre-rolls have rosin in them. And so we keep them in the refrigerator. And so the stickers may or may not stick. I haven't had a big problem with it, but just be aware of the stickers. And again, if you find something, just give me a call and we can usually work it out. So appearance, aroma, flavor, flush, cure, finish kind of is a category, right? Smoothness. You know, how well was that flower finish? Was it cured? Was it too fresh? Was it too dry? And then of course, experience. And so as you go through that, right, I've sent everybody, all of you flower judges are going to get, and you probably already got one, but if you don't, I've sent everybody a jeweler's loop, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that jar, right? And this isn't the jar, but they'll be a lot like this. And I'm going to grab that jar and we're going to crack this thing open, right? We're going to smell it and be like, well, maybe we crack it open and we go, man, I can smell it from there, you know. Okay, well, I had to put my nose way in it to get a smell, right? So we're talking about flavor intensity or aroma intensity, right? You pop your buddy you remember the weed. Your buddy brings a bag into the room, and you're like, dude, what do you got in your pocket? You know, I can smell that shit from across the room. That's a 10, right? You know, something you can smell from a mile away for flavor intensity. I mean, I'm gonna keep saying it wrong. Aroma intensity. So you got that jar pop. Then you're going to reach in there, and before you go much further in aroma, you're going to look at it. So I'm going to pull this bud out. I got the shittiest bud to do this. I don't know why. And I'm going to look at it. I'm going to grab the loop, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to start looking at the trichomes. I'm going to look to make sure trichomes are mature. I'm not going to tell you that it's 10% amber and, you know, this much clear and this much. Take a look. You know, you're going to see you want to see some amber trichs in there. You want to see a good amount of amber trichomes in there. You definitely want to see the heads. You'll see a lot of fancy, you know, like a super shiny, snowy looking bud. And then you grab the scope and you go down and look at it. And it's just a bunch of stalks. You know, somebody's been mistreating it. It's been tossed around. All the heads have been removed. What we're looking for is somebody that has really taken care of this thing. You'll see them. You'll know when you see it. That has really taken care of them. They've gone to full maturity. That means those trichomes are just about to burst, right? And you want to see good, nice, thick coverage, but you also want to see those heads. So you go in there and you see these ones and they just look like sticks and they don't got any heads on them. Not that great. Probably decent weed, not really what we're looking for in a competition setting. So now you've looked at it from the outside. Now you can break that bud open. When you do, you know, right then you can smell it. Don't get too close because you want to be able to look at those trikes again because, you know, a lot of those trikes, you're really going to see them when you get down into that bud. Wanting to see that stuff follow all the way through. And at that point, you know, you can kind of get it broken up. The terps are going to heat up in your hand a little bit. You can really start, you know, some of those aromas really start coming out. And you can kind of start getting an idea of complexity. You know, when I'm talking about complexity, is it floral? Is it gassy? You know, is it GMO? Is it some of these things on the front, some of these things on the back? Is this something I haven't smelled before? Something that really excites me that I can't wait to roll this thing up. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what you're looking for in complexity. And feel free to write some of that stuff in your notes, like I said. Then, you know, we're going to take a good look at it. Now we're going to break it up. I use a little whack-it grinder. If you want to use your fingers, I think even for this, I think your fingers are pretty good because of what it does to the aroma. It actually warms that cannabis up and really kind of gets your senses going. So now you're breaking it up. You roll that thing up, right? We've got a joint roll up. Where'd my joint roll go out? Fucking had a minute ago. I guess it doesn't matter. I would like to have it because I'm going to smoke it later. Pardon me. I've lost it. Shit, we'll just roll up another one while we're talking. So we get the joint rolled up. I have got, for the flower guys, concentrate guys have way more. We're going to give you guys a gram a piece so you guys can sample it fucking 50 times probably. The flower guys, we're going to have 2 grams a piece. In each of the jars. I do that so you can go back and resample. If it were me, I would put 3.5 in there, but we start getting into carry limits, you know, and now you guys only get 20 samples instead of 40 and stuff like that. So we do 2 for a couple of reasons. So I suggest, especially some of the better ones you see, like if you look at it and it looks like a top contender and something like, oh, this is top 10 for sure. Don't smoke it all at once. Roll a gram joint and smoke that and keep some back for later, because you may want to go back and go, all right, here's my top 5. Now let's sit down with these top 5 again. And I don't care if you smoke them all in a row at that point, because you've already got your experience taken care of. And just kind of, you can fine tune those 5 and then go in there. And I want the one that you guys like the most to have the most points in your setup. So, you can go in there and kind of tweak it from there. So like I said, 2 grams should be plenty for everybody to go back and be able to sample again. But I'm gonna roll this puppy up. Right now we got a pretty good idea of aroma. We're gonna go into flavor. So flavor comes in a couple of forms, right? So you've got dry hit, and that's one of my favorite things. If you ever see me smoke a joint, you hand me a joint, the first thing I'm gonna do is, don't light that, let me see that thing, let me dry hit it. So, you take that dry hit, and you try to see if you can pull some of those terpenes, some of those aroma profiles that you smelled earlier into the flavor and go, oh, there's that citrus I like, or ooh, I didn't catch that pine earlier, and maybe you go back and smell it a little bit more. But that dry hit is super important. Another reason I really like smoking joints is you can tell a lot from a championship joint when it gets about 2/3 of the way through. That thing gets halfway, starts getting a little bit halfway. That heat's really got those terpenes going and all that stuff sticking around, and you hit that again, you're like, dude, that tastes like I just lit it 10, right? That's the one. It's and a lot of times the joint that wins is the joint that there ain't much left of it, right? It's the one you just kept going, dude, let me hit that. Golly, I gotta try that again, right? So, just notice as you're smoking through it, does that flavor stay? Does it go to this burnt, sharp, kind of nasty, too many chemicals flavor? Some of that stuff's not good. But keep it, to each their own. Some of you are going to like fruity. Some of you guys are going to like gassy. So fine to like that. And it's fine for you to vote that one your winner if that's the one you like. But I think you'll be surprised when we get through all the judging. You'll be like, wait a minute, that was my favorite one, and that's a 5. And go back and look and go, oh yeah, dude, that one made up, but shit, it was fruity, man. That was the fruitiest joint I've ever smoked. So anyway, flavor. And so again, looking for some of that stuff to come through, looking for longevity, seeing how far that thing goes down that joint. Unfortunately, you can't really do that with a bong. And so I like joints. I'm not, some of you don't, but kind of to each their own. But that's kind of my 2 thoughts on that. So we've got through appearance, aroma, flavor. We get into flush cure. So you'll know when you start breaking up, flush cure grading kind of starts when you're breaking that joint up. You want to make sure. So when those guys, they're either jarring it up themselves and bringing it to me. They come and pick up my jars, they jar it and put it back. Or when we jar it, we open the thing, we fill them as fast as we can, and we shut them as fast as we can. We don't want to lose any moisture out of them. Then what's in there, we want to give it to you guys as we got it. And so you're gonna know if this thing was way too dry. They pulled it off the bottom of the bag. They didn't give a shit. They just grabbed some out of a bag, or whatever it is. But really kind of look at that. Make sure it feels good in your hands. Make sure that the trichomes are still a little sticky. When you get right in that good range, you can't even roll a joint anymore because the thing won't, the thing just pulls out on you, right? So you start on that flush cure really with breaking the cannabis up. But a lot of what I'm talking about there is how smooth is it? We all heard, the more you cough, the more you get off. That's not true. We want something smooth, especially us older guys. We've probably been smoking cigarettes our whole lives. The last thing I want to do is choke my way through a joint. I don't even care if I get high or not, right? Probably just getting a head rush. It's going to go away in 5 seconds, and that's what they're saying, you're getting stoned. But anyway, flush, cure, finish. That's kind of what I'm looking for. That really enjoyment. Boy, you hit it. It just feels good. Now, I'm going to expect you get a full lungful and then you feel that thing expanding and that's fine. That's just fine. What I don't want is that throat burn, that instant harshness, that you get with a lot of fucking pre-rolls. Luckily enough, a lot of people don't enter shit pre-rolls into my event. They're like super flower with the best shit they got hand rolled. But anyway, we'll get there. So flower. So flush cure. Then we get into experience. I'll just touch on it one more time. I'd really like for you guys to smoke it at the same time every day. Sativa guys maybe in the morning, indica guys maybe at night, hybrid guys, who gives a shit. That's not me telling you what to do. I just, I want you guys to be comfortable. The main thing is to be able to sit down, have a calm environment for, to break the light out, get your little thing out, get your tray out, and go, all right, we're sitting down, we're doing one tonight, and really give that sample the time it deserves. So really, I think that probably covers flower. Again, I'll open this thing up to questions later if I missed anything. Again, notes, good. So notes are good. Pre-rolls, it's kind of the same thing, right? You don't exactly get to break it up, but you can take it and you can smell what it tastes like, or you can smell it inside the deal. You can take a couple puffs. If they're little 1 grammers, a lot of times you guys will get 2 joints, but if the big gnarly ones that cost those guys so much to make, like the big infused rosin, live head covered thing, I don't ask them to give you guys 2 of them. It's just 1, but generally they're massive. And that's kind of the only time you're not really going to have 1. Again, be careful with the stickers on pre-rolls. I would keep all this stuff in your refrigerator if you can. The only caveat to that is when you're going to smoke it, don't bring one out of the refrigerator and go right into aroma, because it's not going to be any terps. You want to let it get room temperature. So I'd probably leave most of the joints at room temperature. If you do have some that are live head, you'll know about it when you get the judge pack, because we'll have them in a little cold pack for you guys to take home. And in that case, yeah, let's go ahead and keep them in the refrigerator. Let's just make sure they warm up to room temperature a little bit, kind of before you really get into doing too much judging with those. What else about pre-rolls can I think of that'd be any different? Appearance is going to be a little different. It's not gonna have as much weight as appearance does on flower. I'll adjust, and I'm not gonna tell you exactly what all that is. If you want to know, I'd let you know. But we adjust the rubric weighting a little bit, and so there will be an appearance. But I just want this is a nice, good packed joint. This is something that I'd expect to buy. It looks like a good joint. It's not floppy in. There's not shit coming out. It's not stuck to the packaging or whatever it may be. So kind of appearance as that goes. The rest of it kind of goes the same way as flour does. Anything else with pre-rolls that I can think of? Not much different than flour. Cartridges. When we get into cartridges, we're getting into concentrates. A couple of things to keep in mind with carts. Keep them point up, make sure they're stored right. We're going to give them to you real nice with tip up and keep it in there real nice. Just make sure you're doing that, and because I don't want you to get to one that has been tipped over. You hit it and it's like, oh, this thing's a piece of shit, it's clogged, well, this thing's been sitting upside down, for the past week. So just make sure, you're keeping an eye on this stuff, and you're really doing your due diligence to take care of these judge packs. Those guys, a lot of those guys, some of them didn't. I've seen some pretty shitty carts before, but most of those guys, they work real hard to get you this stuff, and I really want us to do our due diligence in taking care of it and doing our best to judge it. Clarity for carts, and so when I'm looking at appearance for a cart, I'm going to look in there and I'm going to make sure it's not just this nasty, dark crap. A lot of that, what that shows is it's bringing about a lot of the lipids and a lot of the fats and solids that come in the cannabis didn't have a great extraction. So clarity is kind of what I'm looking for in appearance. When you get into carts is a branded category, so they are not blind. You will get the packaging. So I want you guys to look at that packaging, make sure it's got all the information on it that you want, that it's appealing to the eye. Did you like what they did? Hey, I liked your packaging. Oh, it could have been brighter. Oh, it needs to not look like little kids elephants, or, whatever your notes may be. That's kind of what I'm looking for packaging. It's then there again, packaging is not a 10 weight like something like Experience would be. It's going to be somewhere in the 3 or 4 range. And so it'll be a little bit lighter, but whether you like the packaging or not, and mainly does it have the information you're looking for? Everybody wants to see the THC content and all that stuff. So proper testing and all that. So when we get that, it just goes straight to the dispensary. So that would be, they're supposed to submit it just like they'd sell it any other time. So all that stuff should be there. carts, that's about it. You kind of lose aroma a little bit with the carts. It will still be on the rubric, take a couple of hits off that cart, blow it out, and does it make your room smell good? That's kind of what I'm talking about with aroma. You ought to be able to open it and get a smell. You can start getting into these rosin carts. They're not going to have extra terpenes added to them. So they're going to smell like weed. I would fully expect a rosin cart not to taste like freaking cotton candy, or strawberries, right? I'm looking for a good, nice weed flavor and that it comes through. Hey, this is a apple gas. Oh, does this taste gassy? Stuff like that. When you're going through carts. Appearance, aroma, flavor, same shit. It tastes good. Do you like it? Flush cure. When you get into that, it's going to be the same thing. And I may just put smoothness in there. Is it a smooth cart? Can you hit it? Does it instantly make you start dying? Nobody wants to smoke that cart, right? So smoothness, and then experience kind of speaks for itself. Hash. So we've got two different panels. We've got solventless hash and we've got solvent hash. Of course, everybody always wants the solventless. So you guys are super lucky to be here. Congratulations. It's solvent. They kind of go the same. The only difference is being maybe what temperature you guys are dabbing at. But really all the appearance, aroma, flavor, flush cure, you guys have been done, the same thing. I want to, appearance. I want to see a nice light color. I don't want to see a bunch of fats in it. I don't want to see that kind of stuff. I want to see a nice, something that looks good. Kelly, the lady that works for us, a really good friend of mine, always works for the cup. She likes to take a pan and she's got a special white pan that she puts on her oven, and she marks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way around the pan, and then she puts a little dab on the edge of the pan, and then she turns the pan on and watches what those dabs do as they come down that pan and how fast do they burn off. Are they smoking real bad? Are they, is there a lot of residue left over when it's done? I think that's a really cool test. It's a nice clarity test. I don't super expect everybody to do that, but as you're hitting it, take a look at it. That's that visual, you kind of want to see, does it melt nice? Is it doing what you expect it to do? Obviously, when you get into a rosin, there's going to be residuals just because that's the nature of the beast, right? You're not going to count down a rosin because it left a little bit of residual, left. It's something you're going to have. Now you get into a diamond, I don't want to see a whole lot of that stuff. When you get into a really refined product, obviously the clearer the better. Aroma kind of speaks for itself. Same deal with flower. We've got intensity, complexity, longevity, things like that to be paying attention to. And then again, experience. Experience is easy. Flush cure is going to be the same thing. Like I said, smoothness, kind of like a cart. I really want to see a nice smooth hit. Obviously, dabs, inherently you cough. Your body's going to do it. I get it. That's not necessarily, you're going to probably cough on all of them to some degree, but you're definitely going to know which ones are smoother, and smoother on the throat. You don't really want to feel that chemically burn. So, experience, same thing. So, concentrates. Oh, definitely important. For the solventless hash guys, we will put your stuff in a little cooler. It will be in our freezer. We will have a cooler pack in there, right? Should get you most of the way home. If you guys are driving 3 or 4 hours, I'm sorry, first of all. But if you are, go ahead and bring a cooler. So I'm gonna give you a little cooler pack. If you're going back to the city, Oklahoma City, probably just fine. When in doubt, bring a little cooler with you. Put some ice in it and stuff, and I'll give you that little cooler pack. Let's keep that stuff right. There's gonna be ice water hash, so when the guys do ice water hash, we have a temple ball category this year. And so that's the one I'm going to start really looking for more of that old school Moroccan style hash, the brown ball, the stuff we were used to when we were kids. And then we've got ice water hash. And what that's going to end up being is live heads, right? So most of you know probably what live heads are. Those of you who don't, let me give you a little explanation. So it's a super cold, when I say supercritical, I mean subcritical, super cold extraction of ice water hash. So it's ice water hash bath, They freeze it going in. It's as cold as shit when they get it, and when it comes out, they sift it down, and it's literally the trichome head broke off. In best case scenario, that stem still sits somewhere and didn't make that bag. So when you get it, a lot of you some of you that haven't seen it, it's not like other things. Rosin is really shelf stable. You can put your rosin on your counter. It's going to be just fine. I usually keep it in my refrigerator just to keep it nice while it's going. Again, but you're going to judge it that night. Pull it out in the morning. Let it sit there all afternoon and warm up a little bit, or at least for a couple hours. So let it warm up so you can get that good aroma, intensity, kind of baseline. But with the live heads, what you're going to see, let me just go I got some right here. Pull it out of my freezer. So what you're going to see is, let me see if I can show you guys this. You see what that's doing? It's like sand, right? I can literally shake it out like sand. You see that? I know you guys can see that, right? Like a salt shaker. And so this is its stable form is only when it's super ass cold. Let me go put it back. If you guys let that sit on a counter for any amount of time, what's going to happen is it's going to solidify into one piece. You're going to have a hot knife to get it apart, because what happens is you take it out of there and you try to break a chunk off of it, it's going to go doosh, and you're going to have little shards of hash everywhere. That's why you don't really see it a lot. I'm sure it's out there. I don't know that I've ever seen it in a dispensary, but that's why, because it's not a stable product. What it is shows that their lab has the ability to make the purest, baddest hash in the country. And so the guys that enter this, you're going to see, it's going to be cicada, it's going to be chill, it's going to be, I don't know who all's entered yet because I haven't seen it. But a lot of those guys really, really know what they're doing. So be real careful with the ice water hash. That one definitely needs to stay in the refrigerator. I'm less concerned about saying, hey, let it sit out for a minute. Kind of with that, as you kind of heat that stuff up, that's when you're going to start getting some of that stuff. But the ice water hash is kind of special, so be really, really careful with it. You pour it out, it's sticky, it's a mess. But man, when it's frozen, it's awesome, because you could take a joint. I've got a hole in that lid, and I just go like a salt shaker, and I just put some ice water hash on my joints. And favorite thing to do. So just be careful when you're getting that. Again, bring a cooler if you're going too far. Store your hash. Yeah, store that. You can keep the rosin at room temperature. Let's try to keep it at 72, 73. That's probably fine with me. You want to keep it in the fridge, that's fine too, for longer storage. But definitely keep that ice water hash in the freezer. I can't really think a whole lot about anything different about concentrates to think of. Oh, I do.
Daniel,
Go ahead.
do you know another way to smoke the ice water hash?
Go ahead.
You take parchment paper,
Uh-huh.
and you'll scoop some of that stuff out, or pour a little bit out on the parchment paper, and you smash it with your hands.
Okay.
And you warm it up, and you can make a flag that you can pull off with your dab tool and dab
Drop it on. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's probably good, because you can maybe warm it up a little bit and smell it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. I like that, Darcy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had something else now. I can't remember what the hell it was. Anyway, love you, Darcy. Darcy got
It will
lucky.
make a mess out of your rig, though.
It will. Yeah. Well, dude, like I said, I like doing it on a joint, but for judging, I wouldn't do that. Concentrates. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Low, medium, high temperature dabs. Those of you that are dabbers and connoisseurs, that I'm preaching to the choir, you know exactly what you love. But low temp dabs, really good for terps, right? It doesn't burn off the terps too fast. You can really get a good idea of what that thing tastes like. When you start getting, and so I'm talking, 400 to 400, 375, 450, somewhere in that range, that low temp range. 450 to 525, 550, you start getting into that mid range. That's really good for THC, CBD, cannabinoids, minor cannabinoids. That's when they really start, off-gassing. So medium, really good for experience. So if it was me and I was doing rosin, I'd take a low temp one, get my flavor, get my flush cure. All right, cool, got that one down. Let's heat this one up and then get a big pull, and then we'll do our experience. Feel free to do it however you want. Some people like it better than others. And generally, y'all know what you're doing. If you're all dabbing, you've been doing it long enough, you've figured out the temperature thing. Dabs. So edibles. So we've got high dose edibles, tinctures, and topicals. Those of you who got topicals are probably judging another category, and I've reached out to you and told me that you use topicals and you can find relief from them, so you'd be a good judge. So generally, you guys are probably going to have 2 packs. But edibles. For edibles, we ask for minimum 2 50 milligram samples. Okay. Tell you right now, what's going to happen is they're going to have a big old bag of them. They're going to give you 1,000 milligrams. They're all going to be, a bunch of hundreds or a bunch of 50s or whatever. Everybody's individual, right? Some people can take 20, 25, some of them take 50, some of them eat high dose, right? If you're a high dose person and you don't feel low dose or, regular dose 50 milligram edibles, let me know. I'll switch you over to high dose. I'll make a fresh pack for you. You won't miss out on anything. But the idea being, use that same dose every time. And again, let's do it at the same time during the day, whether you take that in the morning to get through the day or whether you take it in the evening to go to bed. Let's try to do that sample as you go to bed. There are going to be plenty of stuff. And so it ought to be on the pack, ought to be damn clear. And if it's not on the pack, what each individual piece is, that ain't good for an edible, because everybody's been there. They don't want to be greened out, right? So just try to take your same amount. Should be plenty there to do what you want to do. Like I said, minimum there's 2 50s. So that ought to do it for most people. 50 milligrams should. High dose edibles, we didn't do a limit, but there again, all that stuff ought to be on the packaging. I would try to take the same dose. That way you can accurately judge the experience of what it was. What else with edibles? We'll have a lot of good ones. Look, there's chocolate, specialty edibles, and some different deals. You're not judging them all together. You'll see if they've got a different name on them, those are the ones that are in that category. Those are going to judge against each other. So just, if they're chocolates, judge how chocolates are. If they're a specialty, judge them kind of as a group and together. Don't say, well, these chocolates are great, but these, specialty edibles didn't taste as good as the chocolate. Doesn't matter. Different category, right? What else about edibles? Do I have anything? I don't really have anything on edibles. We're going to do, it's a package deal. Make sure that they've got all the right information on it that you need. Topicals, for those of you guys that are doing topicals, pretty self-explanatory. What I really want, and I've got a couple of topical spots open. So if you guys know somebody, if your mom or your grandma or your whoever, you can get relief from topicals, has some aches and pains. I've got a few packs left, so hit me up and let me know, and I'll get a topicals kit to you guys too. Just send me an email on that deal. Man, this is year 7. I can't believe we've been doing it this long. I really appreciate everybody for doing it. I'm sorry about the $75. It's the first time we've ever charged a judge. We just want to be able to, everything's tightening up right now. I'm not doing it because I'm rich. I lost money last year, so I just want to be able to keep doing this. Really, that's the same price as a weekend pass, which, we gave away $72,000 worth of shit through Cowboy Cash last year. You come out, do the right thing. Here's a tip. Don't go up to people and go, hey, you got any Cowboy Cash? Walk up and go, hey, man, what do you guys do? Oh, dude, this is awesome. Listen to their spiel. Go, hey, man, that looks like something I'd like to try. That's how you get Cowboy Cash. Then they'll go, well, let's try this, right? But I saw so many people last year go, man, they're just coming up and asking for Cowboy Cash. And somebody'd come up and go, man, nobody ever gave me any Cowboy Cash. How come they weren't giving it out? Well, it's because you weren't asking right. They all got it. They're just trying to get it to the people they feel really want it and aren't just trying to take something from them. So there's a tip for that. We're really excited to see everybody. Thank you so much for doing this. It really means everything to us. You really take a great weight off of my shoulders because I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. The judge did it. Go look at the notes. Can't thank everybody enough. Again, go get everybody out. Go sign 837. I'm going to open the floor up to questions for a few minutes. If there's anything, we'll kind of, everybody hit a deal. If we got to pick through somebody, we'll go one and one. Anybody has any questions? I will have, again, I don't have the judging software all done up yet. I won't have until after this weekend when I get all the stuff and all. But by the time you get that pack, you should have all that information. So that'll all come in a separate email to you guys. It'll probably be your email as your username, and then I'll set a certain password, and then you can go in and change the password is usually how it goes. But just, I don't have all that information yet, so it may be kind of running late as we get into it, but I hope to have it all finished and ready for you guys to rip on Monday. I'll let you know if that changes. If you guys can get down there as fast as you can, it's the only place we can pick it up, unfortunately, is at Best Dispensaries in Tulsa. If there was a way that I could transfer from there down to another dispo and figure out how to do all that and get it to you guys closer, I sure as hell would. Metric just keeps me from doing that. So it'd just be too much to try to get to do all that. So I apologize for some of you that have to drive. It will be worth it. So some of the best products in the state, hands down, the best competition. I don't know, I love Harvest Fest. I think it's great, but nobody enters the way they do, like they come to Cowboy Cup. So you guys take it seriously. I really enjoy everybody's time. Thanks for sitting here. 45 minutes, nailed it. Pretty close. So thanks, Brian.
You guys have a good night, man.
Yep. Good night, guys. Yep. Anything you need, let me know.
Hey, Daniel.
We still have this again tomorrow too, right?
Yep. We're going to do it again tomorrow. You guys, we're going to do the same one again tomorrow, so you don't have to be here. One day. So I just did it for those of you couldn't do Monday, maybe could do Tuesday. So if you've been here and listened to it, you've heard all you need to hear.
All right. Daniel,
Awesome.
Yes.
is there a way I could switch to high dose? You said you had some.
Yeah.
I start with 500 in the morning, so.
And you're an edibles judge?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me find my pen.
Okay.
Not a problem, my man. Matter of fact, I think I need a high dose edibles judge, so I'm glad you did that. Mike.
To the High Dose Club.
Yep. Mike Wilkinson. Thanks for being honest, man. That's cool.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, Michael. Mike, I'll get you changed when I get off the thing here, and I'll reach out and see if I can't find another edibles judge somewhere. So cool.
I got a brother that would step up and do it.
Do you?
He's been a judge several years now.
Shoot me an email, Mike.
Yep. I will.
Shoot me an email. I'll work on it
My
tomorrow.
favorite guy at the dispensary also has a threshold like I do, where he doesn't feel anything until 500 milligrams.
Okay.
So,
Who's saying that? Piper Sainer.
yeah, me. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a little tab over your name. Has.
And I just shot you an email about topicals as well. I
Okay.
use them for joint pain.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And topicals.
I'm gonna
Fantastic.
send you an email too about topicals as well.
Okay, great, Aaron. Yep. Excellent. Cheers, everybody. Smoke one for me. Love you, Darcy. Talk to you guys.